Peter, get us up to speed. This isn't the new story, but what was the latest here?
Yeah, so DiDi is the ride-hailing giant of China. It was supposed to be like Uber. It was supposed to be this very dynamic ride-hailing company that was moving into deliveries and other sorts of things. It went public last year, but its experience as a publicly held company has been really terrible. It got into trouble immediately with Chinese regulators who had cautioned that its data security practices were not rigorous enough. So DiDi had proceeded with its IPO over some objections from the CAC, in particular the cybersecurity regulator. And more recently, it has been pressed to delist from New York because of these security concerns. So the hope was that DiDi was going to be able to relist in Hong Kong at the same time, and essentially shareholders would be able to swap their U.S. shares for Hong Kong listed shares, and things would be relatively okay. But it's not working out that way. DiDi continues to have problems with security and a few other issues that we can talk about. So it hasn't been able to get the Hong Kong listing. So now it's proceeding with the delisting in the U.S. without really having a plan for what it's going to do with these shareholders going forward. That's raising these concerns. So the shares are down from $14 at the IPO to about $2 right now. So it's really been a precipitous decline.
And just to get an idea, I guess, indirectly to your point there, Peter, on how long investors will need to wait to have another listing of DiDi, tell us through some of the steps and measures that it has to put in place before it can talk about applying for another listing, arguably here in Hong Kong.
Yeah, DiDi has been locked in this conflict with Beijing about a couple of different issues. One, the security of its data. When it proceeded with the U.S. IPO, there were concerns about how its data, which of course they take passengers all around the country. There's lots of personal detail about where people go, when they go, what kind of measures they're taking. They want tighter security for that data in particular. And in addition to that, DiDi has been operating these ride-hailing operations without some of the proper licenses in certain cities and for certain drivers, and it needs to clean up those things too. Those are the sorts of things that they need to overcome before they're going to be able to list in Hong Kong. The problem is that they need to delist from the U.S. more quickly than that, so they're sort of stuck in this bind where they don't have a place to have their shares, and for shareholders, that's going to be an enormous problem.